Who was Newry's greatest person? We'd love to be able to tell you, but we can't because we're still a couple of days away from the Friday night at the Town Hall in Newry, when the people of Newry will gather to raise funds for Concern and the Syrian refugees, and will, as part of the fundraising drive, be selecting Newry's greatest ever person. This is the fine-tuning child. This is the man who has brought it together in fine focus. Michael McEwen of Crash Services, you're very welcome. How are you?
I'm the very best, Ron.
We've talked about this before, but the pressure is on because we're building the numbers, and at the moment the tickets are starting to fly out. Go.
Thanks
It's looking good.
I'm getting the good reports of this and that, and going and calling for tickets, and I've been round the outlets this morning, and they say, oh, things are going great, and I says, now, well, as soon as you're short, give me another call.
Yeah.
And we'll get the tickets out.
But it's about constancy of effort. These things don't happen. You don't fill the town hall by sitting at home.
No, I've actually done it once before. About 5 years ago when we launched the Book of Newry, we filled the town hall that day. But I know putting on theatre, etc., is very difficult to get people alert because there's so much other distraction going on. And I've found myself, there's things I always say, I'll wait to see what I'm like on the day, and then if there's not 5 things pulling me the other direction, then I'll go.
Yeah.
So I presume that's what's going to happen, that by Friday night all the fence sitters will have jumped off a fence and arrive at the door.
If you analyse this, it's a huge opportunity for people to have the bite-sized history of Newry.
Well, you will get, especially anybody who's vagueness and do not wish to insult the people of Newry, but I've been here 20 years, but the people who come in like me know far more about the history, because when you start to speak to local people, their idea of history is the last 50 years, 80 years, in their family stories. But people like me who don't have that, we tend to then go and look at the longer range picture.
Yes.
And that's what Friday night will provide. It'll provide a longer range picture right up from no settlement till the monks arrived, till the monks were replaced, till an industrial revolution began, and what we now know as a town, and the reason we're all here, what kept us employed and so on, all that'll come out. But you can't just be employed, you have to be entertained in the evenings, you have to be taught, you have to be fed, and all of those things will come out in the nature of the characters that are
the way you were speaking there, the word continuum comes to mind.
Correct.
We have a timeline back in history.
You'll find a timeline, but we have the one unusual piece is that there is a person from living memory, Sean Hollywood, who will represent more of the modern age, whereas the other people sort of fizzle out at the end of the Victorian age. And it's just that we don't yet have identified who the great people were in this century. That hasn't occurred yet because the academic historians and so on haven't focused themselves in the last 100 years. They're still focusing themselves up until that 80 years ago, where nostalgia takes over. But I'm sure there'll be heroes in the last 100 years as well when we get around to looking at it.
Absolutely. Hollywood, I think, and this is bringing us towards the point where we start to kind of guess and analyse and discuss. Hollywood, a lovely fellow, great fellow, but he's a new kid on the block. That's what he was.
Well, I am probably one of those people that I just mentioned who aren't from here, so I didn't actually experience him. But the Newry people that I bump into and who tell about this here, invariably they all say, oh, I have a memory of Sean Hollywood. So he is different and new, and the more and more I study history, I think there's actually very little change in us as people over the last 200 or 300 years, and that the Victorian people acted the same as us, had the same sorts of issues. Their technology was just different.
Yeah.
They didn't have motor cars, they didn't have iPads, they didn't have texting, but that their mindsets were pretty much the same. And Sean Hollywood, you see, looks like he's different. He looks like a space-age person compared to some of these others.
Oh, he does. I have put him down here in the ratings, in the bookies list, as -2.
-2 out of 10.
Out of 10.
I don't think you're right. I think it'll be.
But I have put Fionn McGorman.
Yes.
The man with his monks who made the thing happen.
Yes.
There'd be nothing. No, none of these people would exist but for Fionn McGorman. I put him at 9 out of 10.
Well, that's interesting. I think that Mary Goss is going to do a wonderful job of recreating that. She's actually gone to the bother of doing a watercolour to help her illustrate her lecture. A watercolour of what the valley was like when there was no civilization.
When the monks came in.
Yeah, well, just before the monks came in, and she has some lovely words describing it. You nearly wish you were back then.
Yes.
But I think myself that if the majority of people are nearly people who have a memory, a recent memory, they're more likely to put Sean Hollywood high up in that. But
Hollywood's a cult.
Well, it is. But you see, one of the things that I hope to have achieved by the way in which we've constructed, I'm mixing my I's and my E's there, but we discussed this, but is that the electronic voting system is meant to level this all out. Because if we simply said, right, you've heard 7 people speaking, now put your hand up for which one of them, well, that would give you a result that the popularity would simply go. But what we've done is we've constructed it so that you have to vote after each person speaks.
Yes, yes.
Which you're assessing the value of that particular person to the area.
And you're not into the comparison race.
No, you don't even know that you're comparing.
Yeah.
You'd need to be very devious to say, oh, I'll tell you what, I'll give 10 to him and I'll give 2 to him. In fact, you'd need to be vindictive to want to do that. So what you're being asked on the night by the able chairman of the evening yourself is that you've been asked to say, here, you've heard something, now vote on this.
These are my colours nailed to the mast. That's what they have to do. I'm not awfully enthusiastic about that lovely man's... he's championing John Grubb Richardson, Ross Chapman.
I think you'll see that when that man finishes speaking, you will probably see the people standing up.
Really?
Oh, yeah. He is an understated type of person, and everything he says.
No, I think what he has to sell is a difficult one.
No,
a man who created Bessbrook.
No, John Grubb Richardson created an example that was carried on later, and we all hear of it, of a place called Bourneville in England. You know,
yes,
Bourneville chocolate. And the Cadburys and Fry's and all these people who were of the same religion
all
as
Quakers.
Richardson. We're all Quakers, but he created the idea of looking after your workers night and day with houses, doctors. I've just recently discovered that they actually had a convalescent home down in Warren Point, which is now the Summerhill Surgery.
Yes.
And I only discovered that last week. I was down visiting one of the doctors for an insurance medical, and he started talking to me about a stone lying outside the door, and it turned out that the stone was there to commemorate the fact that this was where Richardson sent his sick workers down to Warren Point to convalesce.
Whoa, you're raising my gaze.
But this is only one aspect, one wee tiny aspect of it.
How can we go past the good sister Perpetua McCardle, who's championing the Russell sisters, holy nuns who went to the west coast of America and founded hospitals, founded health services?
Well, I'd have to say that's always been my own favourite, but that's because I'm very biased in that I was at a convent school. My sister was in the Mercy Order for a period of time. My cousin is still in the Mercy Order. I had two uncles, priests, and when they were back home from missions and so on, we always visited the Mercy Convent, so I am completely biased in favour of them.
I think I'd be there too.
But their story is fabulous, that how they went out, like when we think of people going out to in the gold rush out to make money, and we're waiting to hear who made the most money and who did the whatever. That Mother Baptist in California was the richest woman in California, in the same way as it's often said that Mother Teresa was the richest woman in the world, not by the amount of rich she held on to, but by the amount that flowed through her.
Yeah, two others.
So Mother Baptist,
she's a champ.
She's a champion. There's no question.
I have some difficulty with Mitchell and Martin.
Well, Mitchell and Martin, you see, are so played out because, and people nearly don't know why they're so played out, you see, when you get back and look at it, it's because they were so famous.
Yeah.
They were actually world famous in the Victorian era. And each of them, in their way, represented a very strong side of Irish life at the time. And Mitchell was the one who stood up to all oppression. And if the speaker, Francis Gallagher, who he and I are practicing together, if we can get ourselves practiced well enough, Francis comes out with the passion of showing that Mitchell gave his life to the people in the same way as Mother Baptist did, only on a different stage.
Yes.
And then John Martin, we combined the two of them because they lived their lives together. Not physically always together because they were separated by exile, compulsory exile.
Absolutely.
But they both intertwined their lives, but at the same time held entirely different views. I often say it's the Gerry Adams and the John Hume. John Martin was John Hume. He wanted the constitutional. John Martin went to Parliament. Mitchell, he preached the idea of abstentionism. And when Padraig Pearse was priming himself up for the 1916 rebellion, he held out Mitchell as to be the father of all republicanism.
Okay, finally I have great difficulty with Richard Castle and company on the canal, because they've created something that in practical terms doesn't exist anymore.
Well, it doesn't exist, but look at the many people are walking along the bank.
Yes.
And there's the great aspiration of having it open again. I was at a meeting a couple of weeks ago of Newry 2020 Vision.
Yes.
And part of what they want to do is to get boats back on the canal, or more practical idea is to have a big barge somewhere between the Albert Basin and the Canal Court, that area, a big barge with a coffee shop or a restaurant on it. So the Castles did do that. It's been so sporting, but I would say he was actually the instrument of government that decided to put the canal there.
Yes.
Whereas you didn't ask me about my own character, Carville. He drove on these ideas.
Yes.
He was a man behind the concept of the Greenoa Dock, the improvement of Warren Point Harbour, 2 railway lines down the valley up to Newry, and another railway line to Armagh, Sligo and Enniskillen.
This is undoubtedly magnificent. What we have to do now is to remind the people they'll find out more on Friday night when they come to us on the Friday night.
Yes.
They'll be with us in the town hall. What time?
7:30.
7:30 on
I
Friday night.
I need you there early because we have to get decked out with a little thing around your neck holding a device that will be with you all evening. So that's a bit of logistics.
That's your voting system.
And you'll have this little thing around your neck. I didn't mean a chain around your neck or an anchor around your neck. It's a little electronic device. And each time somebody speaks, at the end of those 12-minute slots, you will be asked to vote on 3 different aspects of each character. So I need you there early.
Early
so
indeed. And tickets immediately in Carlin Records, in Savages, and in Crash Services, and on the night at the door.
And on the night, but we prefer as many people as possible to get their tickets beforehand,
first,
to hurry up the process of getting the people in.
Michael, go well. We'll talk later. God bless you. Go well. Music,
Bye for now.
favor.